I know a lot of people are standing out here in the sun and it's hot, so we have a short program today. We have just a couple speakers, and then we're going to cut the ribbon, and we're going to welcome you all to come into our beautiful building and see the Ed Roberts campus officially for the first time. Woo! So to start, I'd like to introduce our guest of honor. 10 years ago, she made us all proud by standing up and being the lone voice of sanity in a nation screaming for blood. Since that time, she has continued to be a person who has always taken the values of the Bay Area and put them on the national stage. She is someone who has been wonderful to work with. She flew early this morning to get here, despite the fact that they were up so late with the budget issues. So she is someone with whom I am very honored to agree, Congresswoman Barbara Lee.
Tea Party Republicans, they better not shut the government down so I can get home today. I had to be here. I just have to, I tell you, it's been a rough one. Last night, this week, since they've been in power in the House, it's been nonstop. But we're going to beat them. We're going to beat them. We're going to beat them back. But I just want to thank you for your support and for your leadership, and for making me so proud. This is such a wonderful day. This is such a wonderful day. It is so good to witness the fruition of so many years of hard work and dedication from an unprecedented collaboration of federal, state, local, private officials, agencies, donors, and volunteers. And so let me just take a moment to congratulate all of you who helped to make this amazing achievement. This is such a wonderful day, this official grand opening of the Ed Roberts campus. Let's give Ed a round of applause, too. Remember Ed today. I remember Ed very well.
Right.
I remember him very well when I worked for Ron, and I know that he's with us today, so I know he's here smiling, celebrating with us. But I know he's also saying that our work is just beginning. I know he's saying that. Now, as you know, this project is very special to me, and I just have to say a couple of things. First of all, where's Roberta Brooks? Roberta, you think she still worked for me, but she worked for myself and for Ron, and I'll always remember Roberta saying, Barbara, she was still on my staff then, she says, we've got to do something for the Ed Roberts campus. And she made sure that everything was put into place so that we could ensure that the federal government invested in a big way into this beautiful campus. I just have to thank Roberta for your brilliant advice and your leadership in helping to shepherd this federal piece together. Thank you. Good to see you. And let me also thank Mayor Bates, Senator Hancock, Councilmember Anderson, all of our Berkeley officials for really being such leaders in this independent living movement. Because Berkeley, again, we know that this is the birthplace of the independent living movement.
Right.
Woo! It's the birthplace.
You know it.
It's the birthplace. And so the rest of the country is looking at what we're doing here. This is a model, a national model for the rest of the country. I just have to also, just in his absence, say thank you to then Secretary Rodney Slater. I know some of you remember when we were here, first couple $100,000 in investment with that big check. Rodney Slater, then we had Secretary Mineta. And regardless of the administration, because this was such an important project, an important concept, we were able between 2004 to right now to ensure that the federal funding, which was critical as an investment, would really help validate this campus as a national model and also help leverage public and private funding from individuals and organizations. And we made sure that that happened. It was a priority, and let me just tell you, it was a priority in my earmark request. I'm an appropriator, I'm on the Appropriations Committee, and you know, that worked for us. It worked for us. And I want, you know, because I always say I like earmarks, you know, regardless of what the right wing says and regardless of what this administration is trying to do. I think, you know, right now there's a moratorium on earmarks. And if we had not been able to move forward with earmarks, the federal investment would not have been as great. And so I hope you all will keep helping me beat the drum and say we have got to make sure that federally directed funds come into our community for nonprofits and for efforts such as this great campus. And I'm going to go back and tell the administration that too. Because let me tell you, had we started this today or last November, we wouldn't have been able to get this far given the current environment in Washington, D.C., and given the horrific budget cuts that are taking place. There's no way we would ever be able to get this far. Now, of the roughly $47 million that went into this development, about 45% of the funds came from the private sector, partner organizations, and tenants, and 55% from government sources. So it's really a wonderful example of how when we work together, we can accomplish much for innovation, right, for civil rights, for human rights, for equality, and for the common good. We can do it. We can do it. And so I just have to thank everyone. Zona, it's so good to see you. It's so good to see everybody here today. It's been an amazing effort. But as I said earlier, our work is really just beginning, but it's so important that we share today in this legacy of Ed Roberts. We benefit from Ed's legacy, and we in turn intend to act and to protect it and to expand on it. And that's the charge of the Ed Roberts campus and all of us. It's really a pleasure to be back home, first of all, and to be with you today as my first wonderful event. You know, it's again very dismal in Washington, D.C. But being with you today provides for that beacon of hope and that inspiration that we all need to continue to fight the good fight on behalf of Ed as our hero and our leader, and all of you today for making the 9th Congressional District once again the most progressive, enlightened, and the most creative and committed congressional district in the country. Thank you again.